that talks about this idea of sisters and solidarity and what, you know, this tough word, this feminism word, what that really looks like. One of the things I know for me, especially with my work with Time's Up, is that in these initial meetings, in these initial spaces, when women were getting together in rooms, devoid of the male perspective, the cis male perspective in those rooms, giving us opinions, we were able to really just hear each other for the first time, and we were able to hear what each other needed. And within that sound, within that conversation, you're also able to finally hear the ways in which we've not been able to show up for each other, which is why I think one of the most important conversations we're having right now is about white feminism and this idea of how other kinds of women have been traditionally left out of conversations revolving around feminism. So in the book, I own the title of white feminism, and I talk a lot about the ways in which we would all really benefit as white women from owning it ourselves, meaning owning the flaw, saying, here's not just the great ways in which we've been feminists, here's not just the great ways in which we've shown up and we've fought the good fight and we put out a hashtag and we painted a sign, right? But how are the ways in which we have failed our sisters, our communities of women, of all kinds of women, to really examine that, because by looking at our failures, that is the way in which we evolve and we change. By looking at the ways in which we maybe have not been as great as we could have, and by resisting the urge to become instantly defensive when, again, we are called in or even called out for whatever that is, by resisting the defensiveness and instead pushing through and having those difficult conversations, that is how things change, and that is how we become stronger. Not just because we say, oh, look at us, we're all the same, all women are the same, unite. But by respecting our individual differences, and by seeing somebody else's experience and difference as equally as important as yours, and honoring that. But by having this defensiveness, which I think a lot of, especially white women, have had, it doesn't help us. The true change that we seek is in the uncomfortable nature of these conversations. It is in the discomfort of the way in which we interact right now, and keep pushing through, no matter if our heart is pounding, if we feel we're sick to our stomach, if we feel we don't deserve what's happening, whatever it is. But by pushing through, the lack of engagement, to me, is where we become like people that we don't like. We become like people who say, well, I just believe this, and I'm not interested in talking to you about it. So it is within us, you know, as much as we talk about the greater good, the greater work that we have with people who are not like us and who do not believe the same things we believe, we also have that within our own communities, with people who we do identify with.